and welcome. My name is Alan, and this is news and politics from around the world for Wednesday, October 25th. So, yeah. Now, first things first, we got a story from The Lever. The Israel situation is going to put upward pressure on demand. General Dynamics and Raytheon execs tell investors that Israel's war on Gaza will mean more business. So yeah, more money for the military-industrial complex, because that's who General Dynamics and Raytheon are. They're weapons makers, ammo makers. And so for them, it's big money. As long as this genocide goes on, oh, what is the cost of a few thousand people to making a few more million? Disgusting bastards. Two of America's largest defense contractors told investors this week that Israel's brutal war on Gaza will be good for business, with one executive predicting its recent fourfold increase in artillery production will not be enough to meet additional demand. That's just disgusting. That you would revel in the fact, oh, that's bigger money for me as long as we kill people. In the week since Hamas terrorists massacred 1,400 Israeli civilians and kidnapped 200 hostages, Israel has pounded the Gaza Strip with thousands of bombs, killing at least 5,700 Palestinians, and cut off food, water, fuel, and electricity to residents. In advance of a planned ground invasion, Israel has demanded more than 1 million people evacuate northern Gaza. But yet you tell them this, they go down to the south and try to cross into Egypt, and you bomb the crossing! An order the United Nations said would be impossible without devastating humanitarian consequences. Yeah, fuck Israel's government. And the American leaders allowing this genocide, they're just as fucking guilty. Here's another article from The Lever. Military contractors are targeting commuters. Weapons and tech interests are skirting advertising rules and using Washington, D.C.'s subway system to influence policymakers. The first thing commuters saw when stepping into the metro station beneath the Pentagon in late August was a poster for RTX, also known as Raytheon, the world's second largest defense contractor, formerly known as Raytheon. RTX made $30.3 billion in sales to the U.S. government last year, 45% of its total income. To advertise it to its biggest customer, why not target government decision makers in the places they visit most? Thus, the thousands of commuters entering the Pentagon station each day were greeted by more than 60 RTX Raytheon advertisements plastered across the walls, floors, escalators, and fare gates, such that it was physically impossible to pass through the station without seeing one. Here's what I suggest we do. Give them the middle finger and nationalize the goddamn company. Ban the CEOs, the CFOs, the COOs, and all big executives in the company from being able to participate in manufacturing of weapons, period, and nationalize the goddamn company for the next 25 years. But no! That's communism! Well, it ain't doing a goddamn fucking worth when you have them making money off the backs of murdering, of committing goddamn genocide. Anyway, from ProPublica, voters in at least 10 states are trying to protect abortion rights. GOP officials are throwing up roadblocks. Republican officials are condemning citizen-led ballot initiatives that seek to protect the procedure. Ohio is the latest state to get protections on the November ballot. So yeah, they always cry and whine and bitch, states' rights, states' rights. And when the states try to get actual citizen initiatives on there to protect the rights, fuck the citizens, fuck the citizens. Fuck the GOP. They are despicable. They are worse than despicable. They're subhuman. And this also from ProPublica. Dairy workers on Wisconsin's small farms are dying. Many of those deaths are never investigated. OSHA, Office of Occupational Safety and Health Administration, sometimes investigates deaths on small farms if they provide housing to immigrant workers. Other times, the agency says it can't take action. On a below freezing morning in March of 2013, Israel Lepe Quezada was crushed to death while working on a dairy farm in northeast Wisconsin. The farm's owner had found Lepe pinned between engine compartment and hydraulic arms of a forklift-like machine. About 6 weeks later, Blas Espinoza Zihua was killed when the arms of a skid steer loader, another kind of farming vehicle, fell on him at the dairy farm where he worked near the Minnesota border. His last words, according to court documents, were to say goodbye to his family. And one night in March of this year, Florencio Gomez Rodriguez drowned after he drove a skid steer into a 14-foot deep pond filled with cow manure on a dairy farm where he worked. When the daughter of the farm owner called 911, she told the dispatcher it was unlikely Gomez had survived. Usually when you go down, you don't normally come back up, she said. It's thick. An autopsy found traces of manure in Gomez's airway. In all three cases, inspectors from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, the federal agency responsible for health workplace safety, went to the farms, and in all three cases they left within an hour without conducting investigation. It's clear these are immigrant workers. Are you just ignoring them because they are immigrant workers? Is that what it fucking is? God, it feels like each and every day I have to lose faith in humanity because they don't treat each other as human. Anyway. The inspectors concluded they couldn't investigate because OSHA is banned from enforcing safety laws on farms with fewer than 11 workers unless they have employer-provided housing known as temporary labor camps. So you can't investigate because they've got a tiny number of employees. That sounds like some Republican ass bullshit. If I've ever smelled fucking bullshit, that's Republican ass bullshit right there. Don't step on the small businesses. You don't give a goddamn about small businesses. Fuck the Republican Party with the red, hot, fiery, spiked poker. Ooh, I hate the fuckers. I'm not a fan of the fucking Democrat Party, but God, I despise, detest the Republican Party. Speaking of the clown show, they finally decided upon a House Speaker, ending 22 days of GOP stalemate. And they put in Mike Johnson. I guess they were starting to realize they look like complete and total dumb fucks. And we're like, we need a speaker. Oh, fuck. Fucking idiots. Representative Mike Johnson of Louisiana won the floor vote by the House Speaker for the House Speaker gavel on Wednesday, ending the weeks of stalemate that failed nominations that followed the historic ouster of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Why it matters. Johnson managed to get members to rally around him as the GOP's consensus candidate, but he'll face multiple pressing challenges, including just weeks to pass legislation to keep the government open. Somehow, I don't think that's going to happen. Republicans love to shut down the government over and over. Since I've been alive, it's always been Republicans that are willing to shut the government down. To say, no, take spending away from things that help average Americans. We don't want you to help average Americans because we think it actually contributes to a debt that don't actually work that way. But, we trick the poor into thinking it does, and that's what they fucking vote for us for. So we tell them that it's their fault that the fucking debt goes up. And it's not. Anyway, the House floor vote ended on a tally of 220 to 209, with no Republicans voting against Johnson. All Democrats voted for House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, blah, blah, blah. Zoom in. Multiple House Democrats told Axios before the vote that they were wary of a Johnson speakership. He is not part of the mainstream political or legal thought. Truly an apparent candidate for America. But maybe not for a drowning Republican conference searching for a lifesaver. Johnson served as vice chairman of the House Republican Conference and chairman of the Republican Study Committee prior to winning the nomination. In a memo released before the eternal GOP election, Johnson said his top priorities are bringing the remaining Republican-led appropriation bills to the House floor, passing a resolution to condemn Hamas, and finding a consensus within the conference for a legislative blueprint for the remainder of this term. Condemn Hamas, the group that is basically being blamed so that Israel can go in and commit a genocide. But, whatever. The intrigue. Johnson was previously defeated by House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, who dropped out of the race, later prevailing in an internal vote. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Johnson was the fourth GOP nominee following Emmer, Jim Jordan, and Steve Scalise. But, to go along with this, we also have this story. Pause. Disappear. Okay. Well, we have a speaker. He's an election denier and an extreme Christian fundamentalist. So, it figures the one they'd want to put in office is the lunatic. Republicans have at long last elected a House Speaker, Representative Mike Johnson, a fundamentalist Christian who was also once called a key architect in Congress's efforts to overthrow the 2020 election. Johnson finally secured the Speaker's gavel after Republican infighting left the House without a Speaker for 22 days. He's only been a 4-term congressman, which means 8 years of experience representing Louisiana. His win also represents the rise of the MAGA front in the Republican Party. That has been one of the worst goddamn fucking things in this fucking country, is MAGA, 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 MAGA. Or as I like to call them, the fucking maggots. The MAGATS. Like I said, I consider them subhuman. And if you don't have the goddamn balls enough to push against them, then fuck you. Fuck you. This is from Al Jazeera. Israel to refuse visas to UN officials after Guterres' speech on the Gaza war. Protesting the UN chief's indirect criticism of Israel, Israel's UN envoy says the time has come to teach them a lesson. Israel's government needs to get its fucking head bashed in. It's got such a goddamn ego because we've got fuckheads in the goddamn government that are like, they're just protecting themselves even though they've already killed 4 times the number of Palestinians compared to Israelis. Arrgh! Fucking bullshit. This is a story from Reuters. Gaza families wear ID bracelets to avoid burial in mass graves. Just because there are so many lives being snuffed out because Israel wants to act like it's some big badass. But yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. Are we witnessing the Republican Party drastically shift even farther right in real time? Friend, Republican Party's already been drifting right for a long time. This ain't changing that. This is just the result of not pushing back on their bullshit. Election denialism isn't an offshoot of the Republican Party anymore. It seems to be the status quo. The litmus test for the role as speaker seems to be whether they think Trump won the election or not, and election denialists are securing the nominations every time now. So are we watching the party shift even farther right in real time? Probably. I don't think the speaker race is a key indicator, though. Instead, I think the complete rejection of Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney are the more important pieces of information. They are Republicans through and through that lost popularity simply for not being afraid to criticize January 6 apologists. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty goddamn clear. Romney in particular was a prominent shift. To go from the presidential candidate in 2012 to being shoved aside and rejected within a decade is insane for American politics. I'll always remember having someone I know and who I know voted for him in 2012 say to me a couple years ago, "You don't actually think he's a Republican, do you?" See, it's no longer a party, it's a goddamn cult. They're brainwashed imbeciles. Period. They can act, "Yeah, you're cult." It's a goddamn cult. You back his ass no matter what the goddamn fuck he does or wants to do. It's a cult. I think people underestimate how propagandized conservatives have been in the last 7 years, especially since Trump. For example, my mother watches conservative talk shows all day to people like Dan Bongino and Ben Shapiro. We've had discussions and she straight up told me she thinks Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden are far more liberal or socialist than Bernie Sanders. This is what I'm talking about. The fucking Trumpists are so brainwashed and brain broken. They're like, "Biden's a goddamn communist!" Motherfucker, he's He's a right of center. At best. Just right of center. Same with Clinton. You've swallowed so much bullshit. Stupid ass motherfuckers. That she would have actually preferred Sanders because he isn't as liberal as I told her she was crazy to think that those two were more progressive than Sanders, and that if she hates Biden, then she would have thought Sanders was the Antichrist or something. These people have no idea what sane policies are. They are literally insane, and it's scary. They are so terrified that the government is going to come into their homes and tell them how to live and all this stuff. They've been like that for decades, but it's even worse now, especially amongst evangelicals who think the second coming of Jesus is going to happen soon. Yeah, like I've said, fucking stupid. These motherfuckers are so goddamn brain broken. Period. It's because Bernie hasn't been on the ballot against Republicans who has a chance of winning. The right has mostly used him as someone to try to divide the progressives from the mainline Democratic Party, so he's almost always presented in a neutral or positive light, so when he loses a primary, they can say he was screwed or whatever. If he had ever won the primary and faced off against Trump or whoever, you can bet your mother they would think he's the Antichrist. Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. You see how quickly Fox News has flipped on RFK Jr. after they wanted to use him to try to split up the Democratic Party base. It's like, and once he said, I'm running as an independent, and thus could take votes away from Trump, they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're a leftist. You're so far goddamn liberal. Motherfucker. You were cozying up to him. You were snuggling his taint. For example, the Republicans' media portrayals of RFK Jr. before and after. Exactly. We've been primed for this since the 90s with Rush and Fox News, and Trump essentially activated them. An entire generation has been brainwashed by right-wing domestic terrorists. It's fucking insane, and I don't think the younger generations really have the energy or desire to fight back enough. That's because we've been so goddamn... I'm not even Gen Z. I'm on the line of being considered millennial, just if you really, really, really consider birth dates. Because it's like 1981 starts millennials. I was born in June of 1980, 6 months off. I have more in common with millennials than I do Gen X, but you know, whatever. But yeah, younger generations have been stomped underfoot for so fucking long. Yeah. And not excusing your mom's right-wing mania, but liberalism isn't a complicated topic for some to handle, or is a complicated topic for some to handle. Lots of middle-road Dems and Republicans fold into the democratic liberalism that came alive in the 80s and 90s. You're right, but the definition gets blurry when paired with progressive populist democratic platform. And this is by design. The more scared you are of the bad guys, the more power and money you're willing to work over to stay safe, or fork over to stay safe. Yeah. The Republicans have long subsisted on a strategy of getting people to donate because they are afraid. They push fear into the brains of the brain addled, and like, this is why you should fear them. Man, I live in Tennessee, bordering Georgia. It's some idiots out here. They are clueless about U.S. politics. And then somebody replies to that they are terrified that the government is going to come into your homes and tell you how to live and all this stuff. And they reply, but, they are. Same thing with Cheney, daughter of the most damaging and destructive vice president this country has ever had, hands down, who vilified gays to win an election, even though her own sister is a married lesbian with a child who voted 99% of the time with Trump. SNL summed it up well with their "Am I a Republican?" skit a few years back. The fact that Republicans have called Romney and McCain rhinos make me really wonder if they only consider fealty to Trump as the only defining factor of a Republican. What the hell are they going to do when Trump dies? They're going to treat him like a brain fart. I just forgot the name of that word. Martyr. He'll have been their martyr because he was so close to being Jesus Christ for them. Help me, even though he held the Bible upside down and he didn't have enough goddamn intelligence to understand you don't look straight into a goddamn eclipse without sunglasses, and that America did not have an Air Force during the fucking revolution. But you know, he's their martyr. The faithful will even more deify him. The cult will morph into a nationally known tax-avoiding religion. I don't think that'll happen, but it'll seem like it. The message will get out by prophets whom only the one true God Trump speaks to, and the dollars will in abundance flow. So shall it be written, so shall it be done. Who says he's going to die? He'll probably just turn into another paid branding opportunity, not unlike the dread pirate Roberts. For a reasonable fee, you too could one day be Donald Trump. Yeah. Watching people criticize McCain for being against torture and calling him a rhino was cringe as hell. Yes, it was. Because these people are so goddamn brain broken. But they don't fucking care. They believe they know exactly what the fuck is going on. Because God Daddy Trump is telling them what it is. Anyway, let's head on to the next story here. Yeah, this also from Reuters. Israel's military tells UN in Gaza, ask Hamas for fuel. So yeah, more Israel's example of being complete and utter dicks who need to be kicked in the nutsack several times. From Al Jazeera, family of Al Jazeera Gaza bureau chief killed in Israeli air raid. An attack kills daughter, wife, and son of an Al Jazeera Arabic correspondent, Wael Dado. Yeah, mourns over the body of his children killed along with his wife in an Israeli attack on the Nusayrat refugee camp at Al Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in Deir el Balah in the south of the Gaza Strip. See, they don't give a goddamn about press. They don't like allowing them in there. They try to prevent them from going in there. They try to prevent humanitarian aid. Don't sit there and tell me, oh, it's just a fence. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. It's gone well, hold on, well, past fucking the fence at this point. From the AP, Biden condemns retaliatory attacks by Israeli settlers against Palestinians in the West Bank. Thank fucking God you react the right way for once. Instead of, we got a backing group, give him more bombs and guns and shit, you know. They're going to defend themselves. Yeah, Biden on Wednesday spoke out against the retaliatory attacks by Israeli settlers against Palestinians in the West Bank in the aftermath of the October 7th Hamas attacks. He also said he was redoubling his commitment to working fuck the two-state solution. Israel needs to learn they fucked over any goddamn true opportunity for this. There needs to be a one-state solution that allows both Palestinians and Israel citizens to live in that stretch of land. You cannot sit there and treat them this fucking way any goddamn more. Any more. Strip the goddamn Iron Dome and take their fucking resources from them. It's all given to them by America anyway, so they need to get their goddamn nutsacks kicked in. From the Times of Israel, IDF publishes audio of Hamas terrorist calling family to brag about killing Jews. That's number one. I trust the IDF as about as fucking far as I can throw them. But even if this is factual, no, it's not a good thing. There should be an attempt at peace. And cheering that, oh, I killed people. No, fuck that bullshit. Fuck that bullshit. Now, let's get into some videos. Bassem Youssef sticks it to Piers Morgan, who, like it says, has a bit of a fish memory, like a goldfish.
Killing babies is horrible. But when you say decapitated 40 babies, you are planting a certain image.
Well, who has said that?
Trigger.
Who
You
has
have
said
said
that?
40 decapitated.
Who has said that?
You have repeat.
No, I haven't.
What?
I've never said that. There are soldiers reporting that in one village they found the corpses of 40 babies, some of whom have been beheaded.
I've never said that.
You haven't said on your show 40 decapitated
No.
babies?
Never.
You've been caught in the fucking lie, Piers. Mossad's propaganda department, Israel, is trying to bribe influencers to spin the atrocities happening in Palestine.
$5,000 is what I was just offered to pledge my support to Israel. This Zionist organization emailed me this morning and they said, "We have been following your content on TikTok and appreciate your passion for the Middle East. Our organization, which seeks to help understanding, would like to offer you a sponsorship opportunity. We have noticed your support for the Palestinian cause and we respect your dedication to important issues. However, we believe that there may be some misunderstandings and misperceptions regarding Israel and you have fallen for the lies of the rabid dogs. What the fuck? We are willing to offer you $5,000 to go live and pledge your support for Israel. We aim to provide you with resources and experts who can make you see the truth. Your voice is influential and we believe it's essential to not spread the lies of terrorists on accident. We look forward to working together to promote greater truth in the world." This is horrible. I've seen other creators talk about how they've been offered money to support Israel, and I think this is absolutely disgusting. I will not sell out on Palestinians for any amount of money. You cannot buy my support of a genocide. This is disgusting. And calling them rabid dogs and terrorists, like, how much racism do they think they can get away with? And I'll just be like, oh, that's normal, right? Free Palestine.
Exactly. It's like, but you're falling for the lies of those who are committing genocide. I mean, the evil Gazans, the evil Hamas. You're the ones committing a goddamn genocide, motherfucker. You're right on the edge of having a Holocaust that you are Nazi Germany in. Now, this is that journalist we just talked about having lost his wife and family in the bombing. Trigger warning, it may show some disturbing stuff, but the way the world's going right now,
من درمين يا خالد من درمين الفرة بخان يونس الفرة بخان يونس
he is a member of the press. His wife and kids are killed when Israeli bombs drop on the refugee camp they are in. Don't tell me it's for goddamn defense. They've cut off water, power, fuel. But, they're just defending themselves. So killing a few thousand people more than what you have lost is defending yourselves instead of trying to go in and have a peaceful fucking discussion! This should have never reached this goddamn level. Ever. Ever! As I've said from the beginning, civilians should never have been attacked and killed and harmed. It is not the fault of civilians. But Israel don't give a fuck about civilian lives. You know, I have rage. I've admitted I've had rage. I've talked about it a couple times. But one thing I do not do is turn it on people. I get very angry and have very profanity-laced tirades. But for the most part, it's over actual things that fucking matter. And if all you're going to do is whine and cry, oh, he said a dirty word, go fuck yourself! I'm so sick of the bullshit. People don't have their fucking goddamn priorities in the right place. And instead of caring about other human beings, it's, I don't like you saying certain things. Your words are dirty. I don't like them. Learn to talk proper before you talk about things that matter. Wah! And I say, learn to treat human beings with a modicum of fucking respect. There's far more important things than your goddamn whining about the fucking usage of words. Anyway, the Babysitters Club at YouTube will probably try to put this up to an 18 plus only video, so watch out for that. But, as always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.